Hi everyone, welcome back in another video project tutorial where we're going to be creating a full stack invoice application. So as you can see, this application is deployed in Vercel, and also we're going to be using React, Tailwind CSS, shadcn, Next.js, Zod, React Form, and many other modern libraries to create this full stack application. And also we're going to be using this website called boltstack, where I'm providing reusable components to speed up the process building your UI. Not only for the landing pages or the landing page, but also we're going to be using it for the dashboard. So if you go to the blog section here, we have the landing page section. So this is what I used to build this landing page that I'm gonna show you. But also I providing some mini components under the dashboard section that we're gonna be creating or using to create our dashboard. So this is the landing page. As you can see, we have a simple navbar with the dark mode as well. Since we're using shadcn, we have this beautiful hero section showing the image of the dashboard. We have the simple features section showing the key features, and also we have the testimonials, the call to action, and finally we have this footer. So now let's access to the dashboard. So also I didn't mention we're using NextAuth, so I need to log in. So I've already created an account. So I'm going to click on the login. We have also this amazing form. Also, I'm sharing it through boltstack.dev. So I'm going to click on Google to use my Google account. So I'm going to click on my main Google account. And finally, as you can see, we are in the dashboard. So this is how the dashboard looks like. Also, we have the dark mode as well. And so the first thing that I'm going to show you is the search. So when I click on the search, so we're going to use this dialog to be able uh, to search the invoice that we want to. So as you can see, so the search is working. And also we have this drop down to log out if you want to. We have this beautiful statistic cards. And finally, at the bottom, we have this table. And also we can filter it by paid, unpaid, or draft. And also we can be able to export the table or the data in a CSV format. And here we're going to show only the 7 last invoices created. So to be able to see more invoices, all you have to do, click on the see more. So not only you are going to see more all the invoices, but also we have many other features like the filtering, for example. So I can filter just the invoices of the United States, and also I can sort as well. And also we have the multi-selection, for example. Uh, we have a traditional search in here, and finally we have the pagination. So you can select how many rows you want to see per page, and also depending on how many rows, so we can change the pages. And the next thing that I'm gonna show you is to be able to add the new invoice. So when I click on the new invoice, so we're gonna be accident to a new page called Invoice Creator, and this is the component that we're gonna be using, or the form. And this component is something that I'm providing from here. So I click on the forms, and also for me to save time when I'm showing you how to build this application. So this is the full form, and this is the full code. So, and also it has React form and Zod integrated. So to save time, as I said, so when I click on the save, as you can see, we're going to have errors because we're using Zod and React form. So let's add a form. So I'm going to add these data just to show you how things are working. And finally, I'm going to click on save. So the invoice has been created successfully. If we go back, as you can see, so this is the voice that I created. And if I click on here, and I can select it as paid, and also I can change the city, for example, and also I can add items like this and click on save. So I need to add the date because it is because I selected as paid, and I'm gonna click on save. And if we go back to the invoice, so as you can see, all the information that I updated has been saved successfully. And if I want to delete this, all you have to do, go to the invoice, you can select it, or you can click on this drop down and click on delete and click on this button to delete the invoice. And also, because we have the multi-selection, you can delete all in bulk all the invoices that you selected by clicking on the button, and you're going to have a warning before you delete the invoices. So this is the application that we're going to be building. So as you can see, it has many features, but also building it, it's going to allow you to learn many things by using the modern web development stack. So if you're interested about building this application, stick with me till the end of this video. Hi everyone, welcome back. So we're gonna start from boltstack.dev to create our project because another service that I'm providing in this website is generating a Next.js project. So when we click on this button, so we're gonna be headed toward this landing page, and it says generate a full stack Next.js boilerplate instantly. And it has all of the elements, all of the things uh, in this section. So, and the most important ones, we have Drizzle, we have Neon Database, we have Google Auth, and GitHub Auth. So everything is inside the Next.js boilerplate generator. And also we have shadcn and all the shadcn components and many other libraries that are used in modern web application. So we're going to click on Start Building, and we're going to be headed toward um, this stepper. So at the left side, we have the information that we need to fill, and also at the right side, we have the preview. So the project name, so we're going to call it Invoice Pro, and I need to provide a description. Uh, this is an invoice app. Gonna click on next, and the second step is for customization. So we have basic customization elements like the radius, and also we have the font. You can select the font that you want, and notice that changes automatically in here just to see how things looks like, how things look like. We have the hidden size, and also we have the primary color. So all of the information are going to be saved automatically inside the global.css since it uses shadcn. And then we're going to click on next, and finally the next step, it's going to just to overview the things that you choose. So once you're happy with your options, click on generate, and we're going to generate our application. So notice that the code has been generated. So I'm going to open it up, and then I'm going to extract the files, and so I'm going to create a new folder, and here, so I created the new folder where I'm going to put extract the code. So after doing this, I'm going to open up VS Code and open up the project that I just created. So let me close this folder. I'm going to open up the folder that we just created. So as you can see, so this is the project, and I'm gonna go over some of the main files in the Next.js boilerplate that we just created. Like for example, we have the database, we have the schema, and also we have the drizzle folder, and also we have the middleware, we have the auth.ts. So all of these are going to be included inside the boilerplate. So the reason why we have error, we need to install the libraries that are in the package.json. And notice that in the package.json, we have all the Redux UI component that where shadcn uses, and also many other components, as you can see, are going to be libraries, sorry, are going to be installed automatically once we type in npm install. So let me close all of these files. And also, if we go to the app and the layout.tsx, so notice here we have the theme provider. Also, we have React query like added in this project or included automatically. So let's install all the packages by opening up a new terminal, and I'm going to type in npm install to install all the packages in the package.json. So after the packages has been installed, I'm going to type in npm install to run the server. So let's open up a new tab and choose localhost 3000. Sorry, I need to type in npm run dev, not npm install, to run the server. So let's reload the page. So after the compiling is going to be finished, then we can be able to see our application ready to be used. So as you can see, so this is the landing page that I'm providing, which is a basic one with the Next.js boilerplate generator. I also noticed that like the color that we choose uh, is in our application, and so which so everything seems to working as expected. So the only issue that we're having in here is because next auth. So we need to provide the env variables, and this is something that we're going to be doing later. So now, as you can see, everything is working well. And the next step that we're going to be doing is building our landing page by using many of the components that we are having in boltstack.dev. So we're going to start building our landing page. And so the first thing that I'm going to do, let's go back to VS Code, and inside the components folder, I'm going to create a new file called app logo.tsx, and I'm going to paste this code. So basically, is a functional component to be able to render the icon of our application. So this is the icon that we choose for our application, and then since we're going to use the same component for this landing page, uh, we're going to go to the home page components and inside the header folder. So here in this code and the navbar2 component, which is the reusable component that we're using for our navbar, in the domain prop and the logo property, we are gonna call app logo component like this. So if I save the file and go back to our code, we should see our component in here. So hopefully that things are gonna be working fine. So we have this error, and basically I think I need to go back here. So let's save the file. So let's reload the page, probably because I didn't save the file. So that's why I got this error. And here you go. As you can see, this is the logo that we are using. And also one thing that we're going to be doing, we're going to create a new file called app name. So let's create it now, appname.tsx. So the reason why we're going to create this, because we want, instead of using the invoice pro as a string, we want to use it as a React node, because we want to add some styling, a bit of styling into our title of the application. So I'm going to paste the component. So this is the component, as you can see, because we want to make the invoice as bold and the pro as font light. So since if we go back to the header.tsx of the navbar to component, because the name property accepts the React node. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to call this component app name like this. So if I save the file, and if we go back, so as you can see now, we have the invoice as orange color and bold, and the pro is semi-bold or light with the black color. So that's why we created these two components, and we're gonna keep working on this navbar. So one thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get rid from these nav menus, and to be able to do so, this component provides this prop called navigation menu. So it is an array where you can add the menus that you want. So one trick make it to make this place empty is to use an empty array. And there you go. So this is our navbar. We've been able to reuse this navbar to component because I've created it in boltstack.dev and just add some updates into it so you can be able to get this final result. And also you can be able to update the button, for example, instead of using the register. So you can, for example, update the name of the button and the text, use the text property, and we're gonna change it to create account. You can choose wherever you want. So I'm going to add the comment here. So if we go back to our navbar, as you can see, we're going to have the name of the button. So this is why it's very useful to use reusable components, and this is what I'm providing in this website called boltstack.dev. And we're going to be using many components from this website, so we can be able to create our application a lot faster, and this is why I created it. So now I'm going to start working on the hero section. So if we go back to our final product, so this is the landing page, or sorry, the hero section that we're going to be adding. So again, we're going to go back to boltstack.dev, and in the hero sections compartment, so we're going to go all the way down to the hero section number 6. So this is the component that we're going to be using. So all you have to do is just download the component, and we're going to be adding it inside the components folder. So head into the folder of your project, and inside the components folder, just to make sure that everything is organized, so you can put it wherever you want, but for organization purposes. So we're going to be adding it inside the components folder. And also we're going to be adding all our reusable components inside this folder. So let's click on save, and to be able to use this component in the hero section folder under the homepage components. So what we're going to be doing here, so we're going to get rid from all of this object, and we're going to be calling hero section 6 component. So let's get rid from all of these imports, and we should see our component. So this is the component ready to be used right off the box. You don't have to do anything about it. So all you have to do is to provide the prompts, and this is what we are going to do. So I'm going to just paste the code, and then I'm going to explain each element in this component. So I'm going to paste the code as I said. So this is the object, and I'm going to import the hero section type, hero section. So probably I need to add the export keyword. So I need to add the export keyword to the interface so we can be able to use it in any file. So let's do this again. And there you go. So this is our interface, and we're gonna call the empty bolt icon. And then I'm gonna use this. So I'm going to use the spread operator. So instead of using each prompt, for each property, so all you have to do is to use the spread operator, which is a good feature in JavaScript, and we can be able to use our hero data object without having to use all the props, which is gonna make our code a lot cleaner. But we're gonna make sure that this object uh, confirms is conform, with the hero section prop or interface that we used to create the prop object, or the object of the prop of the component. So now if we go back here and let's reload the page, so we should see, as you can see, we should see all the information that we added in our uh, in our uh, in our component. So the only thing that I need to do here, so I need to provide the image. So the reason why we can't see the image, because the image doesn't exist. So all I have to do here, just to comment this, so we can be able to see this temporarily. And then after we completed our project, then we can be able to add our screenshot of the dashboard in here, as I did for this for the final result. So now we're done with our hero section. So the next element that we're going to be adding is this feature section. And again, we're going to be using boltstack.dev for this. So let's go back to VS Code, and the component that we're going to use for the feature section, we've already have it in our in the code that you downloaded when we got started with Next.js. So this is the component that we're going to be using, called feature section 1. And what I'm going to do here, since we already have this component, so the only thing that we're going to be doing is updating the data. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to paste the whole code. So this is the new object. So this is the structure of the prompt, or the prompts of the whole component. We have the feature badge, the main heading, the subheading, the features area, and all of this are going to be called from the feature section 1 component. So if I save the file and I go back here, so as you can see, so this is the new update, or the new data for um, our landing page. So it is the same as this one. So the only thing that I want to add for this is I need to add a little bit of padding in the hero section, because as you can see, the whole width, the whole rounded rectangle takes the whole width of the page, which doesn't look fun. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go back to the so I need to go to the hero section. So let's go to the hero section, and here what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a little bit of padding at the right and at the left by using the utility class px, and so we can have a little bit of space between the edge, the wind edge edges and the rectangle. So as you can see here, everything is working fine. I'll probably need to add a little bit of padding as well at the top, so to have a bit of space between the hero section and the navbar. Here you go. So for now, everything is going great. So so there are three components remaining. So we have the testimonials, and also we have the hero section. Sorry, the we have the call to action section, and finally we have the footer. So to be able to add the testimonial section, we're gonna do the same thing. Go back to boltstack, and so let's go to the testimonial section. So let's click on this, and so this is the testimonial component that we're going to use. So we're going to download the component again inside the components folder. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go to so I'm going to create a new folder here called testimonials section. Sorry, testimonials section. And I'm going to create a new file called testimonials section. So the reason why I don't want to use the component directly in the landing page, because the landing page needs to be a server component, and there are sometimes there are components that are client component. So for the client components, since I can't use them in the server component, I need to put them inside another component. So this is why I create or I follow this structure. So let's recall the name of the functional component, and then I'm going to use the component uh, that we downloaded from boltstack. So this is the component, and the name is called testimonial to section. So I think that's the name of the component. So testimonial to section 2 component. So, and finally, we need to call the testimonial section component inside the page.tsx. And we're going to put it under the feature section, testimonials section. So like this, and we should see our new component. Here you go. So this is the component. So as you can see, I used the mock data that I used inside the boltstack. So just to show you how things are working, and you can add wherever you would like based on the product or the landing page that you are creating. So I think that the final two more components left. So we need to add the call to action, and also we need to add the footer. And so this is what we're going to be doing. So if we go, so the first thing that I need to do, so first let's see if I already have this. So as you can see, it's not there yet, so I need to add it from boltstack. So again, we're going to do the same thing. So let's go back to the blocks page, and I'm going to go to the call to action. Sometimes there are too many components and I get confused. All you have to do, go to the search components, and this is the component that we're going to be using. So let's download the component, and let's go back to our code, and here I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it CTA section. So I'm going to create a new file called cta.tsx. So let's create an empty component, call to action section. And finally, we're going to call the component that we added from boltstack. So if we go back to our landing page, so I need to call this component, call to action, or I think that the name is not the correct one. The name of the component is called call to action, not call to action section. So what I've been doing here, I just call in the same component that I'm using right now. So let's get rid from this, and we're gonna call this component in the page.tsx call to action section. So we should see our new component at the bottom. So this is the component. So the only thing that we're going to be doing is updating the data. So let's go back to VS Code. I'm going to go to the call to action section, and I'm going to paste the code here. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I need to change this component into a client component, and also I need to use the use router hook from Next.js. So I'm going to use this one because it works with the client component. And then I'm going to use the mock CTA data object. So as you can see, so this is the object which conforms, sorry, with the structure of the interface of the call to action component. And notice here that we're using the use router, and also we're using the use client. And one of the things, and I just talked about this, so if I would use this directly into the page.tsx, so I need to make the page.tsx as a client component, which something that you don't want to do it as a server component just for SEO purposes. So that's why I created for each section a new file, and I can do whatever I want, and I can turn it into a client component. So since this uses the here we're using the use router that uh, uh, where we need to make the component as a client component. So here we have the title, the description, the primary button, text start now, and the on-click event listener. So we're going to use the push and we're going to use the dashboard route. Even the on-click event listener needs to be used in a client environment. So we need to make sure that this is going to be a client component. So this answers the question of why making this structure, creating a folder and then creating a file rather than using the component directly inside the page.tsx. So now if we go back, so as you can see, so this is the new data that has been updated after we changed the code in our component. So one last thing that we need to update is the footer, and this is what I'm going to do next. Again, as we did for the other components, let's go back to boltstack.dev, and we're going to go to the we're going to download the component for the footer. So at the bottom, so this is the component that we're going to be using. So let's download the component. And so in the code, again in the footer section, so we're going to get rid from all of this. And also we're going to get rid from all of this. And then we're going to call the footer 3 component. So if we go back to our VS Code, so this is the component, as you can see. So the only thing that we're going to be doing is using the props of the component to be able to update the visual or the visuals of it. So let's go back to our code, and I'm going to paste this one inside the main tag. So this is the component. So the only thing that I need to do is to add the app logo component that we created from the beginning when we updated the navbar. So I'm going to get rid from all of these elements as imports, and so I'm going to go over very quickly what the prompts does. So we have the copyright text, the hidden. So the hidden, we're going to update the text property. So the logo text, it has the icon, the website name, and the footer nav links, the primary button and the secondary button. So we can access to their class names by using the class name property. So this is how I built this component, and we are going to make them hidden just to be able to make them invisible. So as you can see, so this is our new component. So you don't have to go inside the component and change what you need to change. So all you have to do is to change the prompts and you are ready to go. And also one thing that I'm providing is the doc section. So if you don't know how to use this component, so you can look over the doc section, and here you can see some of the examples on how you can be able to use this component if you don't know something about the component that you are using. So as you can see, we've been able to quickly create and set up our navbar. So uh, if you want to create this yourself, so it's going to take you some probably 1 day or 2 days, and it's exhausting. But if you use reusable components like I'm providing here, so you can be able to create a landing page in just 1 or 2 hours maximum. So once we're done with our nav bar, so now we're going to start working on our dashboard. So just to refresh your mind on the dashboard, how it looks like. So this is the dashboard, and we're gonna start working again with our nav bar. And here we're going to use uh, a lot of components under the dashboard section to be able to create this dashboard UI. So let's start working our dashboard page, and what you will notice when I want to access the dashboard route, I'm going to have this callback URL because we're using nextauth. So to be able to solve this temporarily, just to work on the dashboard page, so go to the middleware.ts and we're going to comment the dashboard route. And also another thing that I'm going to do in the page.tsx. So what I'm going to do here, so I'm going to get rid from all of this code, and also I'm going to get rid from this component since we've deleted it. And also I'm going to get rid from this. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to restart the server. And so we should access our dashboard page without any problems. So let's go back to our browser and again access to the dashboard route. So as you can see, so this is our dashboard, and I can add anything in here just to see that everything is working. So as you can see, everything is working. So I got rid from the code that was inside the dashboard because we were using some code from auth.js. So even though that we deleted it from the middleware, as I showed you, so we're gonna still access to the callback URL because it calls the API, the API auth endpoint. So that's why we need to get rid from the code, and then we can be able to add our new code to be able to create that kind of UI. And this is what we're going to start doing. So the first thing that I'm going to do inside the code, so let's go to the dashboard page or folder, and I'm going to create a new folder called sections. So here I'm going to create a new component called navbar section. dot .gsx. I'm going to create an empty component like this. And here, I'm going to get rid from all of this. And then I'm going to call the navbar section from the sections folder that I created. So then we can be able to add the code here without any problems, and just to make sure that our code is organized to be able to actually render this kind of navbar. And also we're going to do many other updates to the prompts, since we're going to be using the component navbars or the navbar component under the dashboard section. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to download the component. I'm going to save it inside the components folder again. So if we go back here inside the navbar section, so I'm going to call the dashboard navbar component. So let's save the file. So we should see our component. So this is the component that we're having in here. And also this component, as you can see here, it provides many prompts to be able to customize the component to look wherever you want, depending on the UI design that we created. And for our case, we're going to make sure that it's going to look this way. So we're going to start from this part, which is the logo and the name. And here, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to use the left section. So I'm going to paste the object. And this is the object. So we have a div, and inside of it, we are going to call the app logo. So the reusable component, if you remember, that we used for our landing page. So instead of creating another one, so we need to create one component and reuse it over time or many times throughout the project. So we used it. So as you can see, so this is the icon and the name. So we used it. So if we go to the landing page, so we used it in the navbar at the top, but also we used it at the footer. So this is the component, and this is the component that we used it in here. So for this, we use just the icon, not the name of the app. So as you can see, we've been able, so we're gonna keep doing the same thing by using the prompts that we're having inside the dashboard navbar to be able to continue our project. So the next element that we are going to work on this that we're going to update in this navbar, so it is the button, or this button. So what I'm going to do here, so I'm going to use the button data prop, and I'm going to paste this code here. And so this button data prop accepts an object of text property and the on click button. So here we're going to use the push. So the push method from the use router provided by Next.js. So we're going to use the next navigation. And also I'm going to make this as a client component, and then access to the push method. So if we go back here, as you can see, so this is, we updated the text of the button to a new invoice, and we're going to keep the add icon. So when I click on the button, so we should access to the invoice creator route that we're going to be creating later on. Next, I'm going to add the dark mode and the light mode drop-down. So to be able to do this, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add this code. So We're going to use the icon buttons property, which is an array of React nodes. And I'm going to add the mode toggle, which is provided by Next.js. And also I'm going to make the search bar as hidden. So notice that the search bar is hidden because we're going to add a custom search bar next. And as you can see, we can be able to quickly add the dark mode on our components by reusing the mode toggle component from shadcn. So as you can see, we've been able to update and change the or customize our component navbar very quickly by reusing our dashboard navbar one component. So let's continue creating our dashboard page. So we're gonna add this part, the payment overview, and also we're gonna add this calendar. So first thing first, I'm gonna add a new file inside the sections folder. So I'm gonna call it stat cards section .tsx, and so let's create a empty functional component stat cards section, and then we're gonna call this component stat cards section. So after we've created this, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna create this part in a separated component. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna create a new file, and I'm gonna call it payment overview.tsx. So let's create an empty component payment overview. Payment overview, and inside the stat cards, we're gonna call payment. So payment overview. So we should call our component payment overview. So this is the component that we want. So now we're going to access to this component, and we're going to add the necessary code so we can be able to get this text, and also to get our calendar drop down. Again, I'm going to paste the whole code, and I'm going to explain what is in this code. So let me get rid from all of this. And if we go back to our dashboard, so we should see the new update of what I just added. So I should put this at the top here. So we should solve the issue. So let's reload the page. So as you can see, our new component has been rendered successfully. So we have the payment overview text, and also we have this drop down, this calendar drop down, sorry. So if we go over the code, as you can see, we have few imports, and the main ones, So we're using the dateFNS module to be able to calculate the start of the month, the end of the month, and other many things. And also we have the date range from the React date picker. So this is what it is used by shadcn. So first we're going to create our state called date and set date, and we're going to use the date range interface or type from date from React date picker. So we have from to, because here we can be able to select the range. So that's why we added these two properties inside this object. Then we have a simple h2 tag. Then we have the popover trigger. So we're going to use the button, and also we're going to use the date to be able to render which date. And then inside the popover content, we're going to use the calendar component from shadcn, and we're going to be using all of these prompts to be able to actually get the result that we want. So as you can see, everything is working great. To this component called React Date Picker and also shadcn. Otherwise, you would create this by yourself, and it's going to take you an eternity to create that kind of thing, which is something that I don't want to do, to be honest. So once we created our payment overview header, so now we're going to start working on the statistic cards. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to paste this div. So this div has the utility classes or the Tailwind utility classes to be able to actually get the same layout that we're having in here. So we have one card that takes half the width, and we have four cards for the remaining width. So this is why we use the grid, and the grid calls utility classes. And also we were using the media query here to be able to get one column. So when we make the width as it is right now, so we can have all the cards at the top of each other. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use, so these are components that I used from boltstack. So this one is from a component, and this one from another one. So the one that we're going to be using, if we go to the dashboard section and the statistic cards, so currently I have 5 cards. So we're going to use this one. So let's download this component. And also we're going to be using this one for the remaining other components. So this one is going to be used for this one that has the chart, and the statistic card 3, it's going to be used for these simple cards. So what I'm going to do here, so let's go back to the code. And so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add the code to be able to get or render these cards in the UI. But first, I'm going to paste the mock data to be used inside the component, the stat cards 5 component. So let me call this interface single card 5, and then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to call the stat card 5, and for the cards property, so we're going to use this variable. So if I save the file and I go back to our project, so let's reload the page. So we should see our component. So as you can see, so this is the component right off the bat. We have our statistic card. So then we're going to be using the statistic card 3 to be able to show the remaining cards that we're having in here. And to do so, First, I need to paste the mock data that we're going to be using inside the stat cards 3 component. So I'm going to paste the mock data, and then I'm going to call the stat card interface stats card. So probably I should. So first let's create a new div here, and I'm gonna call the stat cards 3 component, and I think I should I should export this type to be able to use it, and the default card array. So let's import this again. So we should access to the component or the interface. And then I'm going to paste the icons. And next one I'm going to do, I'm going to use the cards property, and then I'm going to call the default card array. And the card array. So we have an error probably because of the definition of the interface. So now after we added all the new information, if we go back, so as you can see, these cards has been added, but we need to do some of minor adjustments of the statistic cards component to be able to make them look like this. So I'm going to use the properties provided in the component. So the isGrid is going to be true, columns are going to be true, and show icons is false. So if we go back to our component, so as you can see, there is our new layout or style of the component, the same as we used in here. So as you can see, we've been able to create successfully the UI of this part. So now we are gonna be able to go to the next section, which is the table of the invoice payments. So to be able to work on this section, the first thing that we're going to be doing is adding the mock data. So first thing first, make sure to go back to boltstack.dev and the forms. Download this form 2, the invoice form, into the components folder of the application. So after this, I've already done this. So this is the component, as you can see. And the reason for this, because we're going to use the invoice form. So if we go to the code and so this is what we're going to be using. We're going to use the invoice form data. So this is the schema of the invoice, and we're going to use this type to be able to create our array of invoices. So after this, I'm going to create a new folder called data, and then I'm going to create a new file called mock invoices.ts. So I'm going to paste the code like this, and these are the imports that we're going to be adding as well inside the data folder. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to import the invoice form data from the form 2 component that we just downloaded, and then we're going to add another folder inside the data, and I'm going to add a new file called transform invoices table .tsx. So I'm gonna paste the code. So this is the code that we're gonna be using inside this folder. So don't worry, I'm gonna explain everything after I paste the code. And one last file that we're gonna be adding is this one under the utils folder. So let's create this file. So this is the code. And finally, I'm going to go back to these files so you can be able to import again these types. And also I'm going to do the same thing for this file. So I'm going to import this render invoices status from the last file that we created. So let me close all the tabs here, and I'm going to explain very quickly what I've just done. So let's go back to the data folder. So the first file called mockinvoice.ts. So this is the table headers. So this is what we're going to be using when we start using our table. And this is the mock invoices array. So we're going to import the invoice form data from the form2 uh, reusable component that we downloaded from boltstack, and these are the properties. And if we go to transform invoices table, so basically what we're going to do here, we're going to take the information from the mock invoices array, and then we're going to render it or return it as a JSX or React node. So this is what we're doing. So we're accepting the property called original invoices of type invoice form data, and then we are going to map to each element and we are going to return it as JSX. For each property, we're going to return it as a JSX so we can be able to get, so let me go again to the finished product. So let's access to the dashboard just to understand what I'm doing right now, to be able to get for each row render it as a JSX rather than a text. So this is what we are doing in here. And also another function that we added is render invoices status. So this is also a utility function to be able to render the status as it is, like paid and paid, and also draft, and to be able to add some colors. So this is the function that it's going to do this. And also another thing that I added, and I didn't show this to you, is these utility types. So these utility types that I added to be able to calculate the format currency and also some sorting. So these are we're going to be using later on for our application. So once we're done with our with adding our data, then we can be able to continue adding the UI and adding the table down here. So the first thing that we're going to be doing, we're going to add this part, which is the header of the table. So let's go back to our code again. And so what we're going to do in the sections folder, um, so here we're going to add a component called table section. So let's create it, table section.tsx. So I'm going to create an empty component. So after I did this, so let's go to the page.tsx of the dashboard route, and I'm gonna call table section. So now after I did this, so I'm gonna create a new file called table header uh, overview .tsx. So I'm gonna paste this code, and so this is the component to be able to actually render it like this. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the uh, table section, and I'm going to call the component invoice payments header. Invoice payments header like this, and we should see. So here is, so the only thing that I need to add is the padding. So I'm gonna add some padding like this. So let's see if, so things look great now. So after we've added this header, the next step that we're gonna be doing is adding this part. And to be able to do so, we're gonna go back to boltstack.dev again, and we're gonna use the table. So here in this component, as you can see, we're going to use this table. It has everything like multi-selection, filtering, and sorting, and the search. And also we have the pagination. So you don't have to create your own table. So all you have to do is to know how to use this table. And I added some docs. So probably I need to add them. Sorry for this, guys. But I'm going to show you how to be able to use this table. So let's download this table inside the components folder. So after we've done this, so the first thing, so we're going to add some code inside the table section. So to do so, I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to call it invoice tabs.tsx. So I'm going to paste this code, and so let me delete these imports to re-import them. So the first one is the data table component that I just downloaded. And finally, we're going to use this format invoices for display. So the function that, if you remember, that we added when we were adding the mock data. So after we've added this, so first I'm going to explain very quickly. So we have the invoice tabs array, and so here we're going to use the tabs component or components from shadcn to be able to create this tab. So after we've done this, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go to the table section, and I'm going to call the component invoice tabs. So I'm going to add a card component from shadcn, and then I'm going to import the invoice tabs. So if I save the file and then go back, so hopefully we can see our table down here. So as you can see, this is our table ready to be used. And as you can see, we are going to show all the invoices. And but as you can see, everything is working fine. So after we completed the dashboard UI, so as you can see, everything looks nice and clean. So the next thing that we're going to be doing, and it's going to be very easy because of this website, is if we go to the new voice, so this form. So I've already showed you this to be able to use the format invoice data or the form, sorry, invoice data. And we're going to create a new route called invoice creator. Then we're going to add this form. So this form, it has a lot of code in it. And so just to be able to save a lot of time trying to show you how to build this. So that's why I created it from here, and you can use it whenever you want from this website. So the first thing that I'm going to do here, I'm going to create a new route. So let's create a new folder, and I'm going to call it invoice creator. Then I'm going to create a new file called page.tsx. So let's create uh, an empty functional component. And then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to call the component, sorry, form2. I think that's the name. So let's go back to the component just to see the name of the form. So the name of the component, the name of the component, so let's go back to boltstack. So form2, and the name invoice page. So let's call, here we go. So this is the component that we want. And if I go back in here, but the issue here that I did, the invoice, so let's add the invoice creator, and we should see our component or our form in here, as you can see. So this is our form ready to be used, so you don't have to do anything. And also it has the React hook form and sort already integrated, and many other functions and logic inside the components, so you don't have to add anything. And we're gonna start using the first step, we are going to create our UI. So after building the UI, then we are gonna start like putting everything together so we can have a functional application. So the last route that we're gonna be adding, so if we go back to our finished result, sorry, so let's go back uh, to our dashboard, and if we click on the see more, so this is the route that we're going to be adding, or the table, and we're going to reuse the data table component that we used down here. So if we go back to the dashboard, so this is not going to work because I need to add some code to be able to go back to the dashboard. Um, so let's go to the dashboard. So this is the table that we're going to be using in our new route. So to be able to create our new page, as we did for the other routes, so I'm going to create a new folder. So let's call it all invoices. And I'm going to create a new file again. And so let's create a new functional component. And the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new file called invoice dropdown. So I'm going to paste this code and I'm going to re-import these elements. So this is an interface from the data table, and we're going to import format invoice for display. And because this is the drop down that we are going to be using, so let's go back to the finished product. So this is the drop down that I created that we're going to be using in the actions row. So after I did this, then I'm going to paste the code to be able to render the full table. So I'm going to get rid from this code. Let's paste this one. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to re-import all of these elements. So the data table component. And also we're going to re-import the format invoices for display. So as you can see, this is the whole code, and we should see our table in the new route that we just created. So let's go back to our project, and I'm gonna type in here all invoices. So after the route has been compiled, as you can see, we can be able to see our full table. So as I showed you, we're gonna use, or we used, so if we go back to the table, so we have the same functionalities that we're using inside the table, but with different data, because the filtering is going to be updated depending on the data that we feeded the data table component. So this is how I created it, just to be able to save time and to create many tables, because there are some applications where you need to create a lot of tables. So you don't have to create every time. You need to start from scratch. You need to create a reusable table and reuse it over and over again, and make sure that you add all the necessary functionalities so you can be able to save time. And this is what I've done with this component. So as you can see, everything is working from the start, the search, and also the filtering as well, and also the multi-selection. So as you can see, when the multi-selection is on, so we have this button to be able to delete wherever we selected or to close the selection. And also finally, we have the pagination at the bottom. So everything is working from the get-go. So after we created our component or our route, so the only thing that I forgot to add is this one. So this is a component. So it is the same component that I'm using in here. So the only thing that we're going to do is to change the data. And if we go back to our block section, and if we go to the dialogues, so this is the dialog component that we are going to be using to be able to have this kind of search. And also, I want to just go through very quickly what the code does. So we have the data table, and as you can see, those are all the prompts that this data table provides. So we have the title, show sorting buttons, so you can, if you want to hide them, just turn them to false. So we have the class name, the description, the clickable columns. So here you can be able to set which column that you want to be clickable. So as you can see, we have the client name and we have only the invoice. And this is what we set for this prompt. We have the pagination, so you want to set the default number of how many rows you want to see per page. Show checkbox, you can set them to false. For example, if I do this and if I go back here, as you can see, the boxes are gone. So this is how I engineered this component so you can make it customizable as you would like. And we have the filtering, so we have the array. For example, if I don't wanna see the drop down of the country or to filter by the country. As you can see, the country is gone. And also another thing that I didn't mention, it is type safe. So you will only get the properties of the data that you provided to the table. So if I add, for example, um, street address and I go back in here, so as you can see, I'm going to have the street address to filter by. So it doesn't make any sense to add this. So just to show you how things are working, so the headers is going to come from this object that I pasted when I added the data. So I didn't want to explain this only when I come to this part. So let's go back to our page.tsx, and we have the search, and also we have the drop down item, we have the sort, we have the rows. So as you can see, this component is pretty rich, and you can do whatever you want with it based on your need, and you can customize it as well. So this is what we've been able to create it so far. So as I said, the only thing that I need to add to continue the UI part is the search dialog. So to be able to add our search dialog, so we're going to download this component. So inside the components folder, as we did for the previous components, so let's download this, and then we're going to go back to our code, and what we're going to do in the uh, so we're going to go to the dashboard route, and in here I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to call it final search dialog, like this. Then I'm going to paste the whole component. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to re-import all of these elements like the invoice form data, and also we're going to import the navigation section from the dialog3 component that we just downloaded, and also we need to import the component itself like this, and as you can see, all the errors are gone. So once we created our components, I'm gonna get back to this component to explain what it does. The next thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the navbar section, and in here, so I'm gonna go to so I'm gonna use this prompt, and so this prompt accepts an array of React nodes, and then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna call this component final search dialog. So let's do it. Final search dialog. So I need to add a key for this. Final search. So let's save this and we should see our component. So if we go back here, so let's go to, or let's go to the dashboard page. So we should see our component at the top. So if we click on this, so as you can see, so this is our dialog set and ready to be used very quickly. So if we go back to the file, the final search dialog, so as you can see here, we have the invoice areas. So it's the title and the invoices, and we're going to use the mock invoices data to be able to filter by status. And then we're going to use this function called dialog items that is going to accept the invoices as an argument, and it's going to return this object. So we set it out like this just to ensure that this function is going to return this object as an array. And so we're going to access to the invoice. We're going to destructure it to be able to access to the invoice ID and the client name. And then we're going to return it like this, the ID, the label, and the node. So this function, dialog items, so it's going to be used it's going to be used in this component. So as you can see, so this is the component, the doc search dialog. So we're going to have the placeholder, the not item found, the section, the default section, and the button. So this is the trigger button that it is shown up here. And also we have the footer section. So the footer section is when we open up the doc search. So this is the footer section. So this is how we've been able to create this component. And finally, we have the calculate total to be able to calculate the amount of the invoice, of each invoice. So we've been able to complete successfully all the UI elements of our dashboard or our app, sorry. So as you can see, there are many elements and many components, and thankfully I've been able to create this to save a lot of time. So think about how long it's going to take me if I want to build and show you everything, and like all the details needed to be able to create each component. So it's going to take me hours. And also another reason why I've been able to create this, so you can be able, or I can be able, or you can be able to use these components as much as you would like in future projects without having to create things from scratch and save a lot of time. So this is so I highly recommend to use this, and for now it is completely free, and I'm working on to improve this website to provide more reusable components in the future.